Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second podcast of this series where we will be discussing the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence with a number of SAS experts. My name is Marta Muñoz, and I lead IDC Europe's Internet of Things practice. Today, I have Adrian van Horenbeek with me. Adrian is manufacturing lead in Western Europe at SAS. Welcome, Adrian, and great to have you with us today. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, by the way.
Hello, Marta. That was a very good pronunciation.
Great, thank you. So in our previous episode, we actually looked into some of the challenges that organizations faced when looking at analyzing their IoT data. And today's Fire Chat is going to focus specifically on manufacturing. First of all, I want to share some data to put things into perspective, though. So according to IDC's IoT spending guide, which is our forecasting tool, manufacturing is the second largest sector in the Internet of Things spending worldwide in 2020, only after the distribution and services sector. By 2024, we actually expect the sector to reach 285 billion euros compared to 183 billion euros that it represents today, actually. But manufacturing customers still face some challenges, especially when deploying IoT and artificial intelligence together. So, Adrian, let me start by asking you, what are the operational problems that your manufacturing customers are trying to resolve when they come to SAS?
Well, there are actually many challenges we see in the market and with manufacturing companies that they are facing today. So I think one of the key issues that we see nowadays is actually related to operational safety of employees, for example. It's of course always been the number one in manufacturing, but it also gained a lot of importance due to the impact of COVID, of course. So how to operate my plants at full capacity while ensuring the employees' safety at the same time. And then furthermore, more traditional, I think, I see challenges throughout the entire value chain of a manufacturing company, I believe. So starting in R&D, for example, we see challenges around faster time to market, shorter development cycles of new products. Looking to supply chains, for example, instead of serial change, they need to really become supply networks that are actually resilient, agile and flexible to adapt to changing circumstances. And over here, COVID again showed the importance of this. So typical topics we are working with our clients are supply and demand planning, asset value network optimization, flexible production scheduling, and these are only gaining importance. But moving then specifically into manufacturing operations, we're looking at things around product quality, productivity, reliability of the equipment and the installations. And then a last part is more customer related, I would say, where we see a lot of impact of mass customization, fast and flexible delivery at the right price, design of new business models to better serve customers by providing more value. So more looking into servitization. And then maybe last but definitely not least, we see a large increase of importance as well around sustainability throughout the entire value chain and actually using this as a key differentiator. So we're talking about reducing emissions, reducing energy consumption and scrap in production operations, for example, but also designing new and more sustainable products and reducing the environmental impact of the global supply chains.
Thank you, Adrian. Now, that's fascinating to see the impact of COVID and how it actually affects those operational challenges, and also the move to servitization and sustainability there and how that's gaining importance. That's really interesting. Now, we have some data from the latest IDC's IoT Decision Maker survey that shows that in Europe, only around 43% of the IoT projects are running at a scale across manufacturing organizations. What is your advice for companies who have implemented an initial pilot, perhaps, and they are seeking to scale that across the organizations? What do you tell them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a very relevant question, first of all, because we have probably all seen the ugly part, I will call it, of AI and IoT, where we get stuck in proof of concept, where we don't see the user adoption like we want it. and in the end we don't see the value realized that should have been there. So in my opinion, there are a couple of key ingredients that really need to be in place to drive value at scale from IoT and AI. And these are actually related to three key domains, which are around process, people, and technology. So maybe let's start with the process side of things. What really needs to be in place is a clear process to get AI from a first lighthouse case, to say so, to driving value at scale throughout the entire organization. When looking how we approach it with our clients, we have actually a proven methodology that consists out of 4 steps. And it actually already starts before the real pilot implementation. So first of all, I would say the most important thing is start with the end in mind. You should clearly assess, first of all, the potential and the business impact of AI on your organization. And based on that outcome, or based on this exercise, you can draft a vision or a roadmap on where AI can actually drive value. Not only where it can drive value, but also it gives you an indication on which capabilities you need for this and which technology you need to support this vision and roadmap. So over here, it's crucial actually to take a value backwards approach rather than really a technology driven or a technology forward approach. When moving into the second step, it's then actually running a first pilot implementation to create a lighthouse that delivers value fast. And that actually also shows the potential towards the entire organization. So this needs to be used to build enthusiasm throughout the entire organization. And as such, it will be a lever to further scale AI initiatives and IoT initiatives. I think the most important advice in this step is to find fast or to fail fast. And then the third step is to industrialize this pilot implementation into a sustainable application that is built for the long run and that is fully embedded into the day-to-day way of working and processes of your company. People enablement and capability building are, of course, crucial over here. And then the final and the fourth step is really the scaling step. So based on all the learnings that you get from the previous 3 steps, you actually need to capture best practices in order to efficiently scale this across the entire organization. So that's the first dimension I see that's really methodology and process related. The second dimension that is crucial in there for me is the people dimension. So from the beginning, there should be a large focus on capability building, creation of awareness around AI and advanced analytics. What is it? Because certainly within a manufacturing environment, there are still more engineers than data scientists who are not really aware of the capabilities of AI. So it's actually only by democratizing AI throughout your entire organization that you will be able to drive this sustainable value at scale. So it's of the utmost importance to me to find the right balance between the machine actually, which you can call the AI in there, and the human capabilities and the way in which the humans interact with these AI systems. And then finally, you have, of course, the technology dimension. So to enable really the scale, so to break out from the pilot phase, there is a clear need for an analytics platform that supports this scaling phase by enabling to run different use cases and also by providing an environment for all types of user personas. So from data scientists to data engineers to the engineers in the production plants to even the operators in the production plants, because this is really where the value can be found of using AI in an operational context or in a manufacturing environment.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. So methodology, people and technology, really useful insights. Thank you, Adrian, for that. Now, understanding the sector and the industry consequences is also key, of course, but how do you ensure that your manufacturing solutions can also benefit from knowledge and expertise across other industry solutions, for example? How important is this cross-pollination?
I think it's very important, and I personally also strongly believe in the cross-pollination between different industries. And actually, it makes a lot of sense for me, as some industries will be front runners on specific use cases or specific applications of IoT and AI, as these are probably more related to the core of their business. While for other industries, these specific cases will only become relevant in a later phase of maturity and scaling these analytical use cases. So as such, it's in my opinion very useful for manufacturing companies to also have a look at cases that are already developed in other industries, to learn from it, and also to find valuable applications within the manufacturing domain. So I'm thinking about several concrete examples where we actually have seen it already, where you see the cross-pollination between other industries and how it is translated into manufacturing, for example. So we see applications of procurement and spend analytics, which are more based actually on techniques from the financial world, but these gain a lot of importance now in manufacturing as well, because there's a lot of focus as well on cost cutting these days. Other things we see is, for example, logistics optimization. So thinking about route optimization at DHL, for example, we now also see that these techniques are being used for supply chain optimization within manufacturing. Other things we see are energy forecasting, which has been used for years within the utilities industry. Now it also finds its way into manufacturing to optimize energy usage and also drive the costs down of energy, and also link it to more sustainable production, for example. But the same is true for image recognition cases used for detecting quality defects in the production process and so on. So I think there are lots of examples where manufacturers can learn from other industries. And the same is even true, I think, for cross-pollination between the different sub-industries within manufacturing.
Absolutely. Very, very good point. Thanks, Adrian. Now, one final question before you go, actually. The rise in autonomous operations across manufacturing will sooner or later lead to organizations having to take a closer look at their entire data lifecycle and the model governance that they take. Now, how can an organization like SAS help manufacturing companies looking at preparing for the challenges related to these two today? What are you doing with your customers to help them prepare better?
I think this actually relates back to one of the 3 points I mentioned in being successful earlier. So it's having really a technology platform in place that supports scale and drives the sustainable value. And this is where the SAS technology can play a role. So in order to do this, it should actually cover the entire analytics lifecycle, like we call it. Because operationalizing AI, it's much more than a fancy algorithm, I will say. It's about cleaning data, it's about integrating all disparate data sources that can be found in a typical manufacturing company. It's about having access to an entire analytics toolbox, because not every problem needs AI. So more basic statistics or dashboarding might do the trick as well for specific cases. And then finally, and most importantly, I believe, it is about the capabilities to bring these insights live into your daily operations. So it's all about better decisions. What is in the end the point of making predictions if they will not drive better decisions? So as such, AI will only drive value once it is operationalized. And to enable this, topics like the continuous data lifecycle, like you mentioned, model governance and model performance monitoring, for example, are crucial. So to summarize, if you want to evolve to a fully autonomous operations and get sustainable value from it, there is much more that needs to be in place than just an AI algorithm. It is actually here that SAS differentiates by covering the entire analytics lifecycle, so from the data into the data discovery to sustainable deployment in the daily processes to make better decisions. So as such, we also provide a platform where the entire organization and all the users can collaborate. And by doing so, we significantly reduce the time to value for our customers and make sure that they get sustainable value at scale from their investments into advanced analytics.
Absolutely. All very relevant to drive value ultimately from the insights of the organization's IoT data. Now that takes us to the end of our time here today. So thank you very much, Adrian, for your time with us. It's been great having you here.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about the importance of artificial intelligence and IoT in manufacturing, stay tuned for more episodes in this mini-series. And thank you very much for listening, and goodbye from me.